Oluwaseyi Buchi.
Sir?
Yeah, NEPA just took my light, so I'll just take a few minutes to
Okay, sir.
to get back. Yeah. Okay, while I wait for my light to get back, let's just start since you guys can see my screen already, Abby.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my screen doesn't need light. Yeah. Chika, how are you?
Look at what I'm looking at.
Platform we are using. So once you type in it, everybody should put him or herself on mute so that we'll not have issues.
Did you get there's not plenty?
Oluwase, please put yourself on mute. Oluwase.
Sir?
Okay. Please put yourself on mute, eh? So let's get started. So once you're on it, so I'm just gonna click on this English to open it up. Okay. And I'm gonna click on okay. So far in English language, we've been able to cover a whole lot. We've looked at parts of speech, we've looked at emphatic stress, we've looked at synonyms and antonyms. Please, anybody that did not follow us up when we started, all the videos that we used in these classes, they are all on our YouTube channel. Once you get to our YouTube channel, Tclassified.com, click on the playlist. You will see the videos for each of the subjects. So when we started the live streaming, we've done vowels, we've done consonants. Today we want to look at comprehension. That's the topic we want to look at. Okay? So you can see it here, comprehension. So I'm going to click here, then I'll click on these. Click on the test so that it will open. So you're always going to see comprehension passage in your JAMB examination. In fact, it is normally the first questions in English. And I normally advise my students, don't start with the comprehension passage. There are other questions that are very simple. Once you come, you just flip through, get to your 10 questions from your life changer novel, smash all of them, get to emphatic stress, very simple, smash all the emphatic stress, get to vowels and consonants, smash it, get to synonym and antonym, smash it, then get back to your comprehension. That's the best way to go about it. So, but today we'll still look at this comprehension because it is very, very important and it is going to affect what we are doing. So let's start immediately. So what is comprehension? Comprehension is simply the ability to understand something. So when you say, yes, I can comprehend what you're saying, you are simply trying to say that you can understand what somebody is saying. So to comprehend means to understand. So comprehension is the ability to understand something. It is understanding and interpretation of what is read. So when you read a passage, you're expected to be able to understand and interpret that passage. And how does your examiner know that you're able to understand that passage? Is by answering the questions that are following the passage. So when you get to JAMB, you open your JAMB English, the first passages that you see, you're supposed to read and understand and answer the subsequent questions. So you call it comprehension because you're expected to read those passages and be able to understand and answer the questions. So it is when you can answer the questions that are following the passage, That's when you are now able to say that you can comprehend or you can understand the passage. Okay. Now, when you see a comprehension passage in JAMB, there are two major places that they get this comprehension passage. And it's very, very important that you understand this. So that you know where comprehension before you get to the hub. So there are two sources of comprehension. And number one is what we call original, whereas number two is what we call adaptation. So your comprehension might be coming from an original source, can be coming from an original source. It could also be coming from an adapted source. So when a comprehension is coming from an original source, it simply means that the person that wrote that comprehension is writing it from his head based on what is happening. So he's writing facts based on what is happening, based on what his experiences, based on what the events that are happening around him, based on the political situation of the country, based on what is happening. So that is called original. The writer of the comprehension is writing from what is happening. He's the creator, he's the original maker of the comprehension passage. So you can simply write the comprehension passage by looking at what is happening in the environment, looking at the political situation of Nigeria. All of us know that Nigeria has a very terrible security structure currently. The security of Nigeria is just nothing to write home about. So you can just start writing about the security, the kidnappings, and everything that is happening. That is your original comprehension. Now, the second one is adaptation. Adaptation is when you write a comprehension, when your examiner writes a comprehension, but the comprehension, he did not write it from his head based on events that are happening. He went and took part of a novel, part of a textbook, part of a religious book, part of a history book, part of a government book. So when you go and write comprehension based on what has been written already, we call it adaptation. Or when you go and you call it call. When you go and extract what is already in a novel, then you call it adapted comprehension. So there are two types of comprehension. Original, the examiner is writing from his head based on what is happening. Adapted, when you're copying from a passage that has been written by somebody. So those are the two ways that all the comprehension passages that you know, those are the two ways that they write them from, okay? So you're going to find out that you're going to be having so many adapted comprehension because most comprehension that you see, they will write about medicine, about geography, about all these things are already written somewhere. So they just go there and write it for you so that you read, understand, and you answer the subsequent question. Now let's move to the next topic, how to read a passage. So how do you read a passage? There are two major ways that we're going to be considering, skimming and scanning. Where skimming is quickly looking for the main ideas of a passage. The reader gets the general idea and not the detail. So when you skim, you're quickly looking at the general idea. You're quickly looking at the passage. Whereas in scanning, the reading, you read in order to get full meaning. So in scanning, you take more time. So let's take an example of skimming. Now, when you get a newspaper, you find out that once you get a newspaper, what you do is that you continue to flip through because you want to get to the part of the newspaper that you're interested in. Some people are just interested in fashion. So they will just go to the part of the newspaper where they have fashion. But before you get to where there is fashion, you have to be looking through other headlines to see so that you don't pass the fashion. So you're skimming through. So you just skim through, you say, oh, this is about geography, I'm not interested. Oh, this is about romance, I'm not interested. Oh, this is about mathematics, I'm not interested. Until you will not get to the fashion where you want. So you skim through, you move very fast, getting a general idea of what is in that newspaper. So you already gotten an idea that in that newspaper, there is geography, there is mathematics, but you did not read them through. You did not do a detailed look into them. But in scanning, now that you've gotten to that fashion that you want, you now read it very fast, getting a more detailed look at it. So that is called scanning. So from these two, you find out that you're probably going to be scanning through your novel. Now, there are three theories that you can use in simplifying difficult comprehension. And we're going to be using one of these ways in our practice. So we're going to be using what we call the chemistry theory. There is also psychoanalytic theory and the cause and effect theory. But these other last two, they are not as effective as the chemistry theory. So we're going to be using the chemistry theory to evaluate the comprehension that we're going to be seeing. So this chemistry theory, what does it entail? Number one, as the name goes, in line with the principle of chemistry, chemistry is the study of behavior of different elements and components, putting them together and watching the outcome as a result. The elements in comprehension. So this chemistry theory is just looking at comprehension as if it is chemistry. And you know, chemistry, they have different elements. So that is the same way you're looking at a comprehension. But the elements of a comprehension is not the same thing as elements of chemistry like phosphorus, calcium, and the rest. The elements of a comprehension are those things that make up a comprehension, those various element parts of the comprehension, and they include the subject matter, the theme of the comprehension, the lexical items, and the extra grammatical items. So all these make up the comprehension. So you need to be able to identify these elements. So when you identify them, it will help you in answering the questions. If you know the theme of a comprehension, when you see the options that you have in your answers, you'll be able to pick out the one that is closely related to the theme. If you know the subject matter of the comprehension, when you check out the options in the questions that are following the comprehension, you'll be able to locate the answer easily. When you know the lexical items that are involved in the comprehension that you just read, when you are checking the options in the question following the comprehension, to be easier for you to pick out the answer. And if you know the grammatical, extra grammatical items, it also makes it easy for you to answer. So what is subject matter? Subject matter is what the passage discusses. What is the passage talking about? When you read a comprehension, you know what the passage is talking about. So that is the subject matter. It is the story that is told in the passage. So you read a passage, the storyline tells you the subject matter, whereas the theme is the main or major lesson. The lesson that you're learning from that comprehension is known as the theme. So the theme or the major lesson which the story teaches is the theme. So the story is the subject matter, whereas the theme is the major lesson that you get from that subject or the storyline. Then lexical items are words, difficult words. If you're reading about geography, you'll be seeing geographical terms. If you're reading about medicine, you'll be seeing things like diagnosis, lab, medical doctor. Those are the words you'll be seeing. If you're reading about law, you'll be seeing things like barrister, affidavits, prosecutor, such things. That's what you'll be seeing. So you need to know the word store for the various jargons or the various areas in life so that you can know their words. Now you talk about extra grammatical items. These are idioms, phrase, figures of speech. We just finished figures of speech in our last literature class. So all these proverbs, all these make up what we call your extra grammatical structures items, and you need to know them. So like I said, the way that we're going to be simplifying our difficult comprehension is going to be by way of chemistry method. This psychoanalytic method and cause and effect method, they are not as effective as the chemistry method. So we're going to look at a typical example of a comprehension. We should be able to identify, okay, I'm going to give it as an assignment so that you'll be able to identify for me the subject matter in that comprehension, the theme, the lexical item, and the extra grammatical items in that very comprehension, okay? So now let's take these psychoanalytic method, collection and considering facts together to arrive at an answer. Okay, this is simply when you put down the facts that you've read together to arrive at an answer. Like I said, we're not going to dwell much on it because we're not going to be using it. Cause and effect theory. This is inferring. This word is not entering. It's inferring an event from the previously happened one in order to make a logical inference on what could be the outcome. So these two methods we are not using, but we're going to be using this chemistry method. Now, what is the procedure in handling your comprehension? So when you see your comprehension passage, how do you go about attacking your comprehension passage so that you can get the most out of your work? So number one thing is that you read the entire question under a passage. That's the first thing you do. So once you open up your comprehension, me, I will differ a little bit from what I just wrote on your slide. I would want you to first of all scan through. So use those two methods. I would do the first point, which is read the entire question under the passage. So after reading through the entire question under the passage, now read the passage for the first time, identifying the elements. So what are those elements? Identify the subject matter, the theme, difficult word, and extra grammatical item. If you're not able to identify these things when you're reading the passage, when you get back to the question, you find it difficult answering. So that's why I say I'm going to be giving us a practical where we should be able to identify this from a given passage. And we all know that subject matter is simply the storyline that the passage is telling you. Theme is the lesson. What are you able to learn from that passage? Difficult words are any word that you cannot just know the meaning, except when you go to dictionary. And extra grammatical items are if you see idioms, similar, metaphor, any figures of speech. So I'm going to give us a given passage. We should be able to identify this. So when you are reading for the first time, make sure you identify all these. Then read the question again and assemble your answers. So this is the best way to tackle comprehension passage. So I'm going to give us an assignment now. So everybody should go to JAMB 2018. JAMB 2018. JAMB 2018. I believe everybody have Q&A. All of you have your Q&A. So what you're going to do, go to JAMB 2018, read the first passage there. After reading the first passage, identify for me the subject matter, the theme, the difficult words, and the extragrammatical items. Then answer this, the following question. Oluwaseyi, are you clear on the assignment?
No, sir.
You said what?
I'm not clear, sir. I didn't hear you.
Okay, so this is the assignment. I believe that all of us have Q&A. Q&A is past question and answers, the one you're working with, any product that you're working with. So go to that Q&A for English. Go to JAMB 2018. 2018. Now, search for the first passage in your JAMB 2018. Read the first passage. After reading it, the first thing you do is identify, you write subject matter equal to, you tell me the storyline, theme, which is the main lesson, you tell me the main lesson, difficult words, you identify all the difficult words in that. Difficult words, I mean like the jargons, the particular lexicons that are used in that very passage, then the extra grammatical items. Then after that, answer the following 3 questions or four or five questions that are following that. Okay. Chioma Buchi, did you understand the assignment?
So I'm still trying to.
Okay, Chika, do you understand the? Chika, are you there?
Yes, sir, but I don't understand the extra grammar.
Okay, you don't understand the extra
So I don't
grammatical.
understand
When
the
we say extra
items.
Okay, extra grammatical items simply means figures of speech, similar, metaphor. When you're
Okay.
reading and you encounter any figure, any proverb, any similar, any metaphor. Happiness, do you understand the assignment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate these assignments now, so that for the benefits of people that don't understand. Okay, so I'm going to open up a open our work. Please, can can we see my new new slide? The new slide now is what's it called? Is
Yes, sir.
the summary of what's it called? The life changer. Are you guys seeing the summary of the life changer? Please let me know.
Yes.
Oluwase, are you guys seeing the summary of the life changer?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say now this is your let's assume this is your JAMB 2018 past questions. Okay, then once you open it, you're gonna see your comprehension 1, comprehension passage 1. Okay, so you now start reading this comprehension passage 1.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
So, okay, so this is the comprehension passage. So you start reading. This chapter is ushered in with introduction of Salma. Salma is described here to be in her early 20s and at her prime age. She is declared a bad dresser who dresses to reveal all her endowments. Salma was in Dr. Dabo's office, who happened to be her level coordinator. Dr. Dabo is described as a well-disciplined and principled lecturer. He never had himself entangled with any female student. He always tries as much as possible to keep them, but his encounter with Salma was different. Immediately, Dr. Dabo set his eye on Salma. He felt and thought he had never seen such a beauty before. Okay, so let's take that this is the passage. Then after this passage, you're going to have answer the questions below from the passage. Okay, then you're going to have your question number 1, and you're going to be asked, say, from the passage, you can deduce that. Then you have your options A. Option A, Salma is a good student. You have option B, Salma is an average student. Option C, Obi is Salma's brother. Then option D, Salma is well endowed. Okay, so you're going to have these couple of questions. This is question number 1, and the same way you have question number 1, you're going to have question number 2, question number 3, and question number 4 for this very passage. So you're supposed to pick out answers. So the assignment I gave you now is, now that you've come to the first comprehension passage, which is comprehension passage 1 in your JAMB 2018 past questions and answer. That's what we are using to practice. So just get your past question. After reading the first passage, this is what you do for me. So you now say assignment, answer, assignment, answer. So number 1, I asked you, the first thing will be to read and do what? Give me the elements of this passage. So what is the word? Subject matter. And I told you that subject matter simply means the storyline. Abby, is that what I said? Did I say that subject matter is the story being told? Then number 2, I said, what is the theme? What did I say the theme is? The major lesson. Then I said, give me the word, the lexical items, which are the or difficult. And I now said, get me the what? Extra grammatical items. Okay, and I say that these extra grammatical items are what? Idioms, figures of speech, proverbs, and the rest. So let's use this and solve this very passage. Now, who can tell me the storyline from this little passage that we just read now? What's the storyline? What is it talking about? Can anybody help us? What's the storyline? So we can say that this is Summer's encounter with Mr. Double. So that's what that's the storyline. That's what this first page is telling us about. Then theme is the major lesson. What did you learn from here? Who can tell me what you learned from this lesson? You can see this our comprehension is not a definite comprehension where we could have seen very clear theme and very clear subject matter, but we can still make out something out of it. So what did you learn from here? So what was a lesson that could be derived from this little thing we learned? So we can see that this passage told us much about Dr. Dabo, that is a very well-disciplined man. So this is telling us about importance of discipline. Very, very important. So it's telling us about discipline as is seen in Mr. Dabo's character. Okay. So let's go forward. Now we'll talk about lexical items. So what are some words, difficult words that you can see from these? Not much difficult words, but we can look at things like very few difficult words. But I hope everybody know what endowment is. So this could be one of them. Endowments in this case simply means your body parts, like somebody that is well shaped. So you can see that is a word that is a jargon that is used for describing human beings. So endowment is here. What else can we see? Principled. So you are told that Mr. Dabo is a principled man. So this is a jargon used in describing the character of teachers. So this is another difficult word, though I know you know the meaning of principle. Then under extra grammatical items, figures of speech. So what do we see there? So if we scroll up, we can see that we can see some expression that look like that. This chapter also has Sama is described as in early 20s and in her prime. So what does it mean to say that somebody is in his prime? So here you will see words that don't mean words that mean something else from just what they say. So prime, what does prime mean? To be in your prime, be in her prime. So who can tell me what it means for somebody to be in his prime? Yeah, Daniel God. You raised your hand. What does it mean?
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It actually means you are getting closer to the point, or you are actually close to the time you are supposed to be in. So, but it actually means you are getting closer to the point.
Can you talk a little bit louder?
Okay, it means that you are getting closer to the point, like you're actually close to the time or the point in which you are about to enter. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but I think prime in this case. Does any other person have any answer that is not the same as what he gave? And also, what do you understand by somebody dressing to reveal her endowments? So that is another. What does that mean too? So extragrammatical items are those words that they don't mean actually literally what is looking, but you have to look at it and be able to interpret it. Okay, which other one am I saying here? Entangled with female student. Okay, what does it mean to be entangled with female students? Means having drama or having issues with female students. That you're going to read, please make sure that you identify all these for that passage. Then after that, that is when you now go about answering this. Because having identified this part simply means that any other question that you see, you can easily, it means that you already have a good capture of what the passage is talking about, so that you can answer any questions. So you now read this one and you can now answer, and it says from the passage, you can deduce what can you say about Sama. So you can easily say that Sama is well endowed. Why? Because you've already identified well endowed in as one of the extra grammatical items. So it's easier for you to just pick out the answer immediately when you go through them. Okay, so that is the assignment. I hope everybody now has a clearer picture of what I want. Oluwase, do you understand better now?
Yes, sir.
Choma Buchi, do you understand better now? Choma, are you there? Okay, I can't hear Choma very well, but that is what I mean. So once you're done, write your own in a paper, snap, and send to the WhatsApp group. Thank you. See you when I see you. Chika, I hope you got me. You understood what I mean. Chika, are you still there or you gone? Okay. Happiness, did you understand what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Blessing, do you understand what I mean? Okay, so I'll be expecting the answers